I know. I just okay. Woohoo! What a day! Welcome to one of the craziest days of the year. Kind of laugh because there's just what has happened since oh my god since January 1st. We are seeing things unfold so quickly and crazily. So yeah. So welcome everybody. Welcome to the Guru Mama from the laundry room. Yeah, I'm in the laundry room. I work late today. I've had my physio and kinesiology 4 days this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I had physio this morning. It doesn't feel too bad once you have it, but I know I will have to definitely uh, take some Advil or something later on with it all. So got my little coffee. Yeah, got my coffee here. On January 17th, I think at 7 p.m., I'm going to have my predictions. Um, there's a lot there that I had to unpack and look at with what is unfolding because we are in the throes of things being activated very quickly. This isn't going to be like, oh, it's going to happen next year. No, this is the activation is here. It's now. I've told many people that January 9th, which is today, is going to be a crazy day. And that's because Mars has gazinied with the sun and Venus is there too. So there's a lot of burning off. There's a lot of energy coming in. We're seeing things just really start to escalate um, down in Minnesota. That's just going to take a whole life of its own. Um, and the directory that it's going to go into. It's kind of like the George Floyd thing, but I think it's George Floyd times 100 with what's going to be activated, and then with Waltz, the lovely governor, how things are going to unfold with that. We also have a lot of things going on between Russia and Iran and the Iranians. Taking back their country. Don't do not want Islamic rule anymore. Um, and stepping into wanting to have their freedom back. So we're seeing that the things in Venezuela unfolding. Trump in Greenland. That's going to be an interesting one. And um, he's even telling everybody like he's going to give them 100 grand each. I mean, for most of the people that live in Greenland, that's like wow, that's that's a lot of money for them, honestly. It is a very a higher percentage of indigenous people that live there, so that's interesting as well. There's unemployment there, uh, so it's it's going to be interesting. Is it going to be positive? Is it going to be good? You got to come join me on January 17th. A lot of things that are unfolding right now, and the alignments that are going on are very similar to alignments that have happened before in the past. And they are unfolding right before our eyes. And we're also seeing where it's the craziness of, you know, New York, the mayor there, the mayor in London. We have many we've had it here in Calgary. This is where things are going to start getting unsettled. The sun and the Mars are fused together, and it's not subtle energy. It's an ignition. There's a purpose, there's a pressure, and a moment where the moment something moves, whether we feel ready or not. And we're adding in the reset of the Venus alignment that happened earlier this week. And now we have desires and action and identity are all coming up at once. So this is, and Jupiter's across the street. It isn't helping anything because he's just amplifying. There's a, this push and the pull with Cancer and Capricorn, roots and growth, structure and emotion, mother, father, you know, where we are going versus where we came from. And this restructuring is happening at this time. This week already starts showing, a lot of tensions. Where do I belong? What am I committing to long term? The roots, am I willing to move or completely replant? Right. And here's the key: Jupiter retrograde doesn't want to escape outwards. It says go in, right? And it's emotional, and it's into the discomfort and into the truth, and we didn't think we'd even have to face. So there's a lot of things here that we're going to have to face, and they are becoming very blatantly clear, the direction that things are moving towards. And if people don't see it, or if they're not paying if you're not paying attention, or you're just blindly going around like la 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 la, well, I think you're gonna feel it. It's gonna slap you across the face, in big ways. With my predictions and stuff that are coming up on the 17th are quite in okay, it's intense. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I thought me coming out about 2019 and going into 2020 and stuff was intense. This is nothing, man. this is um this is a lot more than what we are bargaining for. And it's where I know many spirituals are saying, just keep on the positive, yes, we're going into this new energy. Yeah, but there's a huge fucking disruption that's going to happen, and this reset that's coming in, and this vibration that's happening, right? um it's an do I say, is it inevitable, you know so this is why today it's going to feel hot, sensitive, intense. The sun sits right in the middle of opposing forces, and we're standing at the fulcrum of it all. Oh, hi, Charlene. But this is also preparation. There's a lot of prep work that's going on right now, and we are preparing a lot of ourselves, um, spiritually. There's a lot of spiritual work that's happening right now, and it's intense because we're not used to doing that intent spiritual work. We're used to going on weekends and doing, having beautiful weekends where we could just sort of lay around and sort of absorb the energy. And this is like, no, this is intense downloads that are nonstop, that are just going bang 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 bang. You got to get it. You got to start wakening up. So it's hot and it's sensitive, and it's all for preparation. And this is how we get ready to step into the new world. We are in this new energy that is creating a new world. But even if it feels like we're being deep rooted first, and so we got to think like it's a garden. Sometimes the soil around the roots must be turned. Sometimes the plant must be moved, not because it's failing, but because it needs better ground to thrive. Um, and yeah, it's we're I know I feel like I'm being very vague with a lot of things, but this, like, between now and, I'd say, even between now and February 20th, but between now and the new moon, which is coming up next week, be ready. Like, it's gonna be catastrophic. A lot of the things that are gonna be unfolding, um, right now. And the thing is that a lot of people, I've heard where, oh, well, we live here, it's not going to affect us. It's going to affect us in many different ways. It's going to affect us politically, in the geopolitical plan, and that's going to affect in how we maneuver, how we move around, how we um, do things in our life. We're gonna see, and it's not like we're not gonna be like locked down in our houses. That's not. I don't see that. I see where there's, but things are just going to change quite dramatically in how we receive things, how we get, maybe even, let's say, our deliveries and stuff. This is where family and home and community are going to be extremely important. People who want to stay in their homes, I feel like, are going to get forced out. Like, you cannot stay in your house. Like, things are going to be forced upon us for movement and getting movement going. I mean, the United States and the revolution, I mean, it's unfolding as we speak, and it's just going to get a little bit crazier as we go along. And how Canada plays its role, I mean, Canada is a very complicated country, geopolitically, because we are tied to Britain, with the king, and there's a lot of complexity that goes along with that. So where we get pulled in is going to be extremely interesting. But you're gonna, something's gonna happen to get people riled up and um, on the bandwagon again, jumping on the bandwagon and saying, rah, 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 yes, yes, yes. Yeah, we believe in this cause. So people are going to get extremely riled up, just like what's happening in Minnesota. People are getting riled up. They're not listening to the full information that's coming out. They're only listening to what CNN is saying. They're only listening to whatever rhetoric is coming out of you know of the liberal camp kind of thing. So we're witnessing that. And this is where we are going to be um pushed into a place, into a um world that we haven't um lived through. And in my outlook, you know um I'm wanting to help to, it's not fear based. It's not nothing to be like, I don't it's not about fear based or scaring people, but this is about getting people to a place where they can be awakened and not be afraid. That's the big thing. So we don't want people afraid. We don't want people, we want people prepared, right? We want people prepared with everything and what that looks like. So this is where, it's not about, the world is going to end. It's, you know where there is going to be, not it's just going to be crazy. That's all I'm going to say. Because I don't want to. There's a lot of things I'd like to say about this, and I'm trying to. There's a lot of things within um, this Capricorn Kazini gateway, this doorway that we're walking through. We are stepping into this big dog astrology. We are, with the Sun, Venus, Gazini. We have the Mars closing it off today. This creates a triple conjunction, a stellium, an activation at 16 to 18 degrees of Capricorn, and it's not subtle. This is a seed moment. There's a lot of seeds that are happening right now with the Sun and Venus, that happen with the values and love and money and purpose and a purpose burned, clean, and reborn. And then we have with the Mars, the action, the commitment, and the consequences that we're going to see. A lot of truths are going to be exposed that people may not want to believe. So there's beliefs versus reality, vision versus, sustainability, and irreversible change. With Pluto nearby in Aquarius, there's going to be where things are going to happen, but they're going to be irreversible. So Chiron gestation direct, and it's going to be moving into Taurus, and that's going to be bringing in a whole new world. Whole new world. The nodes are changing. The north node is going into Aquarius, the south node is going into Leo. And so that's going to bring in another new activation. So this year is a huge change, a huge activation, a huge movement that is moving into a direction that that is very much the karmic point, and especially as Saturn and Neptune get a lot closer. So there's this cosmic point, this karmic point that's coming in. And we have the ego that comes in, and the versus the heart. So there's a lot to do with our soul and our soul purpose that is here, that is being called to us. And this is where, especially where Jupiter is, and Jupiter is many doors, not just one, but it's, retrograde. So this is multiple pathways that aren't really all visible yet for us. And it's emotional. So there's a lot of things that are springing up in and around us. There's a lot of things that are happening in the world that are awakening us, that are getting us to look. There's a lot of warning signs. The energy is wanting patience and humility and spiritual alignment. Capricorn knows its timing, and Pisces knows surrender. So, and then we have Aries, which is soon. Aries will know the action, and it will take action. And especially into March, this is where we're going to start seeing the action start to unfold. Chiron direct is to accept the medicine, accept what's happening. Healing right now is not about fixing, it's about accepting what no longer aligns. So there's going to be things that are going to come into your life, or people that come into your life, or situations, they just don't align. That's it. They're not part of your life. And what your ego wanted may not be what your soul agreed to, right? And that's okay. That's okay. So we have this, force that's coming in, right? And this force that's coming in is that you're being summoned to a path of service and truth and spiritual responsibility. And with that, you got also, you got to, you have it without spiritual arrogance. You can't have arrogance with all of this energy that's coming in. There are things that and plays that are happening, and alignments that are coming in. And as I said to you before, who you thought your friend is not your friend, and who you thought the enemy is not necessarily your enemy. And that's in the geopolitical realm, right? This is where Capricorn right now, it rules government institutions, leadership, hierarchies, corporations, economic systems, laws, borders, authority, right? This is not about chaos yet. This is about decisions being locked in and that determine where the chaos or stability will show up in 2026 to 2027. This is creating a directory of action that's coming very quickly, and a recalibration. So there's a lot of recalibrating that's happening right now. Um whether it's treaties or trade or financial agreements, we're going to see some rebranding and leadership narratives. If you noticed, when Trump went into Venezuela, did you hear a lot from the Democrat Party? No, because they didn't like him either. They wanted him the fuck out. The only rhetoric you hear is from the news. That's the only thing that you're hearing. And some of that you got to take with a grain of salt, right? So this is where it's like it's transitional. Things are very transitional right now. We're coming to the critical degrees of the end of Capricorn, right? After this new moon next week, it's going to be moving into Aquarius. And what's in Aquarius? Pluto. This is Pluto. Pluto's going to be like, Really? You're coming into another realm of mine? Let's go, baby. And it'll be, the sun meeting in there, Mars meeting in there, Venus meeting in there, Mercury. And Mercury's going to zoom on by because Mercury is going to be retrograding in Pisces. Now we saw what happens when Mercury retrogrades in Pisces. Not exactly the best thing because he did it in 2020. And when he retrograded in 2020, he kind of did a little bit of I'm going to say, a spell. He got people to believe certain things. He got people to really, rally behind before before any evidence came in, before, when other people are saying, hey, baby, this doesn't make any sense. And now we're going to be seeing him going in there as Neptune and Saturn go into Aries. So huge activations are going on. And the last 3 signs of the zodiac aren't really kind of cuddly kind of people. Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, because Pisces can be very aloof and very illusional and can very cut you off because they want to go into their own realm kind of thing. That's not the cuddly signs. They're not the ones that say, come on, let's go on the couch and watch Netflix. And that's more Leo. That's more Cancer. Let's stay home. Let's, come on. Let's bake a cake. And Leo's like, yeah, we can invite some friends over. Let's have a party. Capricorn's like, that's not structured. That's not the way we're doing it. Who are you inviting over? Can you trust them? Are they the people that you want? Ooh, did they cross the line? And Aquarius brings in the weird, abstract nuttiness of the nutty professor, right? What kind of experiment can we do? What kind of things can we see? In Vegas this last week, the CES, I think it's called. Have you looked at the kind of shit that's coming out? Holy crap, the AI stuff, the robots. Some of it's scary as fuck. Some of it is scary as fuck because there are things that are coming out and we're only seeing a little tiny bit of it. If anybody watched iRobot, welcome, because that's just way things are just moving towards, right? So we have so much that is positioning right now. And today, this is what we're going to see within days with this Mars bringing in a force of enforcement. We are going to see military positioning without full engagement. Economic pressures on weapons, sanctions, tariffs, and freezes. He just said a 500% tariff when anybody buys oil from Russia. Russia was doing some really heavy bombing, interesting bombing into Ukraine. And we're seeing a huge push in military positioning happening in Europe right now. So there is this where we're going to find executive orders, crackdowns, or emergency justification. Things are going to start getting enforced of decisions made quietly earlier. So this is not an explosion, it's arming. So with this Mars joining the sun, we're going to find the arming happening. And Jupiter's opposition to the stellium shows 2 irreconcilable belief systems pulling against one another. One, we got the global level. The ideological polarization intensifies. Legal versus moral, authority conflicts, humanitarian narrative versus economic reality. Growth, promises that cannot be sustained structurally. And Jupiter is going to inflate the story. Things that are going to be happening are just going to get crazy and inflated. We just had a judge come in and crack down and say, no, Alberta can't separate it. No, Quebec can't separate. You can't vote about that. Can't do that. Why? Well, they're going to need some oil. They're going to be needing gas. And where's the oil and gas in Canada? It's here in Alberta. It's here in Alberta. and some of the refineries to refine our oil. Do we have the refineries to refine the oil? I don't know. I don't think we have them fully set up. I think we might have some, but some of the full refineries are in the States. Where do you think the refineries for that have been set up now for all the oil, the thickest oil coming in from Venezuela, which is very, very similar to our oil sands oil. So this oil is coming in, from Venezuela, and Canada knows it has to gear up. It has to. Because if it doesn't, because the amount of money that Trump just put into the military, and it's their 250th year, it was like what? How much trillions of dollars went into the military is being spent on military, right? And he's expecting everybody else to pull up their pants and saying, "No more dicking around, boys." Sorry, Macron. You can't be nuzzling up to Cardi anymore. It has to. Canada has no choice. It has to. Honestly, it has to. Canada cannot be dicking around. Canada just went over to France, for whatever reason. So wherever he goes, it's some kind of deal that's going to help him and his company. So they and Europe is full force going towards Russia and going towards war. War is this year. This is it. This is the year. Canada has to gear up. Canada has to get in. There's a for chips. Chips is going to be the huge one, right? Because everybody needs chips. And was it in Arizona? They've been trying to build this. It's like a factory to build these, and um, it wants it built now. Like it's basically all steam ahead to get this factory going to build things. Now you're going to find that, things that they want or things that are going to come up. The call to action was like everybody had to build bombs and everything else in World War II, and come into the factory. Well, the factories are going to be like, okay, we need people to build and to get in to start to create the chips and shit like that. Intelligence is going to be a huge one. And if you know IT, if you don't know IT, you might be shit out of luck, because that's going to be some of the bigger jobs. Even with AI, they're going to need people, right? And they're going to need people, informants, very similar to what happened with paperclip. People who know things, people who know how to do things and work with higher intelligence. So, with Pluto's proximity, makes one thing clear: whatever is decided now cannot be undone. Everything that's happening right now cannot be undone. Even if leaders change, even if elections shift, even if the public opinion swings. Pluto and Capricorn, late degrees, echoed this. Legacy systems collapsing from inside. Elite consolidating before loss of control. Exposure of corruption without immediate justice. So power moving underground rather than disappearing. So this is a quiet consolidation, not a visible collapse. The thing is that with the amount of gold that's in Venezuela, what is that going to do? It's going to prop up the US dollar. All of a sudden, Fort Knox does have gold. And Canada has to get its head out of the sand. Like, the only way Canada can get out, unfortunately, out of its economic strife is through war and through some kind of joint venture of creating or making themselves viable. Why do you think they don't want Alberta to leave? Alberta's the money. Alberta's the backbone of Canada. And, it's not because I live here. It's where things are. So things are going to start ramping up very quickly. And as we get to the critical, where Neptune is, it's deception mixed with genuine confusion, blurred accountability, humanitarian language, making strategic moves. What do you think just happened in Minnesota? Right? Why the hell is that woman there? Right? Why? And she was actually, now we found out that her and her girlfriend, because she's gay, decided to move to Canada because she's just, oh, Trump. But then they come back down as little soldiers, to strategically stop ICE, however you want to look at it. It's like, you don't block the police when they're going to go do shit. It's just, you know, but that was the little soldier that just triggered everything, right? And I hate to say, when you look at it, it's just like, okay, how many shots did you get? How delulu are you to believe such rhetoric? And it's always liberal white women. Like, what the fuck? We had the other, was a few months ago, this one woman comes in, and I'm standing there. A couple other people are there. Anyways, and this woman came in and apologized for all the residential schools. And I went, okay, that's weird. Like, whatever. You didn't do it, And she's like, yeah, I know. And I said, like, there's a lot of atrocities. Are you looking at the atrocities that are happening right now in Yemen? Are you looking at the atrocities that are happening to women in Afghanistan that are being beaten, stoned to death because of what they believe, or they showed their hair? And she goes, oh, well, and then she went on, no, this is what Canada did. Yeah. Okay. There's been apologies. There's been a lot of money. And I said, it's a money grabbing thing. Oh, and then she went on her little, like, liberal box and just, like, went off on, but it was so wrong, and they had no right to take the children. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. They had no right to take the children. They had no right to do that. It was a different time, a different age. A lot of shit happened in history, and a lot of fuck ups happened, and a lot of generational hurt is going on. But I said, it's moving forward. How are we moving forward? How are we making a change now? How are we helping people now? Because we're in the same rhetoric as it was then, but we're only throwing money at it. But where the fuck's the money going? It isn't going to the people that actually need the help. So your apologies don't mean fuck all. It's like the government coming out and apologizing and still not doing anything. So we are at this point of change that is coming in. And there's going to be conflicts. It's going to be proxy conflicts, misinformation escalation, public reaction. So we're going to see things really escalating into um into boots on the ground. And this is where we're going to find that there's going to be unsolved national trauma influencing policy. This is Chiron direct. We're going to find old historical wounds resurfacing, identity-based conflicts, right? And reaction rooted in humiliation, loss, or pride. Pluto there is like, could take things right to the extreme with things. And this explains overreaction, symbolic aggression, pride-driven decisions. Oh, you can't go against that. You can't say that. You think it was bad before. Refusal to back down, even when logic says otherwise. This is an ego on national scale. Like, boom! So, I have more to say, but I'm not going to say it here. There's more things that I would love to disclose, but I'm not going to say it here. And the reckoning, I'm going to call it the reckoning year. The identity, authority, and the power redefined. So, on January 17th, I will be having I'm going to say, I follow a show that's called Full Disclosure, but I will be fully disclosing things, but it's going to be more in a private forum, not on an open forum. And where we'll talk more about what is going to be unfolding. It's $35 for this. And and leading in. I think, and it only scratches. I mean, and this is only going to scratch the surface. It's only going to be about an hour and a half, hour and a half, with everything, and then I'll have questions at the end. Um, that are going to happen, and this is where it's a lot of things. It's funny because I'm typing things out, and then I've been using chat, and then chat basically said, "You can't say that. You can't honestly know what that is." It was quite funny having an argument with AI. And I'm like, "Well, this is what I'm saying, and this is what I need you to write it up, and this is how I need it done." And then all of a sudden, it's like, whoop, okay, it's kind of switched. So it's kind of funny. Um, in doing that. But anyways, I got to get going because I got to go to work. I got to catch the bus. I'm going to send you guys out so much love. And don't be scared. It's just all about preparedness. This is where things are going to get kind of crazy. And starting today onward, it's just going to get louder and it's going to get very explosive. So just letting you know. Okay, so may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you, and all you say and all you be and all you do. Have a blessed one, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.